Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Talking About Birds, the only Cardinal podcast that, like Nolan Arenado, really doesn't fit here anymore. My name is Nate Heininger, and I'm joined by my co-host, Ben Samorka.
Hey, Nate.
If you have an idea for the opening bit, text or leave us a voicemail at 848-48-BIRDS. And thank you to the listener who submitted that one. Now, to be clear, they sent that a few weeks ago. A little more relevant when they sent it, but I just want to say, if you send me something to say on the show, especially an opening bit, it's very likely going to get used, okay? Pretty wide open door here, pretty wide net, okay? I've said some dumb shit at the extension of what you all have sent in, and I'm willing to keep doing that. So if you have an opening bit, 848-48-BIRDS, and thank you again to whoever you are, wherever you are, submitted this. And if you want your name included or like a nickname or something, say that too. I'm happy to shout someone out. Hambone, how you doing?
Fine. Jeez, Louise, that was laborious. Laborious? God.
I like laborious. Quick programming note, assuming our scheduling works out, we next week should be joined by Ben Clemens from FanGraphs. So very excited about that. We had
So
Dan
if he
Zaborski.
doesn't join, everybody's going to be really disappointed. That's good.
Yeah, but
Great.
just trust it's probably our fault if he doesn't join.
All right.
Yeah, but everyone get out there, start pestering him. You know what I mean?
That's how you want to start the show today.
No, what I want to start the show, Hambone, is I know you had a big weekend. Super Bowl's over. My question for you is, how was the Kid Rock performance? Did he do his pedophile song?
I don't get that reference, but I assume they're all kind of
some
pedophile
do.
songs, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I lost $5.
You fool.
I took the Pats comeback against one of our friends second half post Benito performance, and I lost $5. It was pretty rough.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. That's tough. I hopefully you did this with a friend, but hopefully you did it through one of our betting platforms. Please tell me, Ben. Please, did you use one of our favorite betting platforms?
I went analog. I went up and grabbed a $5 bill from my wallet and handed it to him.
Brag. Old Daddy Stacks over here carrying around hard cash. That's pretty cool.
Right.
That's pretty cool.
That's right.
Well, I'm
Check
sorry
me
for
out,
your
brother.
loss. Oh, he's flashing a cold single right on the screen.
It is as crisp. Look at
It's
that.
actually quite crisp.
It's crispy.
Yeah, he's holding it between two fingers at an end, and it is staying perfectly horizontal. That's a fresh banknote right there. Proud of you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Well, you also had the annual ski trip, of which I've attended most of the time, but I did not go this most recent weekend.
Loser.
I mean, who needs to pay all that to do all that? You know what I mean? Like, to just I can fall on my ass here. You know, I can trip and make a fool of myself anywhere in the world. I don't need to go to a top
one better
for it.
Do you one better? Why do you ever do anything or spend anything or go anywhere? You know, what's the point?
I was thinking about it. Skiing is an interesting sport because it's like this extreme effort to go really fast while standing up. You know what I mean? Most of the time when you're going really, really fast, you're sitting down.
That is very interesting. That's what you were thinking about?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, am I wrong?
I don't know, man.
What other
I don't
things
know
are
what I don't know the angle you're coming at today. I don't understand what's wrong. I'm not sure why you think that's worth saying.
What other things?
But yeah,
are you
man,
going really
you
fast?
can't disagree. Can't disagree. You are standing up.
I think it's a unique aspect of the sport.
Okay.
I thought you'd be proud of me. I was thinking about skiing. It's like your favorite thing.
I do enjoy skiing.
Yeah. Was it good? Good powder?
Yeah, it was. No, the powder was not good, but the vibes were good. The hangs were good. The food was good. We got some good Olympics watching in.
Yeah.
Which, when you're on a ski trip watching the Winter Olympics, you just feel like Lindsey Vonn or something. It's cool.
Too soon.
God, did you see that crash?
Yeah, that's brutal.
Yeah.
Arguably, she shouldn't have been out there in the first place, but I don't know enough about any of it to really have a strong opinion on it. But as I understand it, she was
Lindsey
skiing with
Vonn
it.
is one of the greatest athletes of all time. She can do whatever she wants.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah. I saw that baseball is on the path to being part of the 2028 Summer Olympics, so that's exciting.
We like that. Although,
Yeah.
the competition is usually pretty light. We got the WBC. That is my,
Sure.
Olympic baseball sounds good, but WBC is where it's at as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I would love for Olympic baseball to be able to match the roster building and overall hype that WC has become, but it just doesn't seem in the cards. But maybe over the next couple of years they can evolve it as the WCBC continues to be really popular and rosters are finalizing and everything right now. There's obviously some controversy with some of the teams. Which is ultimately disappointing from a fan perspective, as it's just some major stars are going to miss out on it. But overall, like WBC is soon, and if we haven't talked about it for a little while, we intend to cover it on this show. We'll be covering, takeaways from the games and things like that.
Yep. Yeah, very light Cardinal presence, but it'll be good baseball. So looking forward to that. Yeah, the controversy, I'm not buying it. Is like now that I've read a little bit more about it, it's like, well, Francisco Lindor is now, we just got to note that he's on the IL. Carlos Correa not playing. That makes sense. What insurance company would cover that? The guy has a hollow ankle,
Something like that.
and has been injured. It's a lot of these guys who have either been injured in the past, and that's why they're not being insured. I think I was even reading that the Astros just requested one of their players, and that player didn't really fight it and was just like, that's okay.
Yeah.
It was Hader. It was Hader, I think, that the owner of the Astros, Jim Crane, just asked him not to play, and he was like, "Okay, I get it." So
Hader famously quite okay with not being asked or being asked not to play. Remember that whole thing?
Well, that used to be true.
Yeah.
And then he goes for the Astros the last 2 years and pitches multiple innings and gets hurt. So
yeah, true.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, well, did you see the whole thing with Bad Bunny too? Not the halftime show, but that he apparently offered to pay all of the insurance costs for these Puerto Rican players. But it all came in through late, and it kind of sounds like the insurance was like an easy way to blame this, but there was a lot of underlying things going on that the insurance was just sort of a cop out.
Yeah,
not necessarily like a cop out, but like an easy bucket to put a lot of these reasons in.
It makes me like Bad Bunny. I knew he was a baseball fan. I didn't know he was a put his money on the line type of baseball fan. That makes me like him even more.
Yeah, same. I mean, I honestly I didn't really know a lot about him until his when he was there for the All-Star game. Was that last year or the year before, the home run derby, when he was just running around on the field, being a nutso supporting the home run derby. So I had some I assume you don't do that if you aren't at least some degree into baseball, but obviously, like paying close enough attention to understand there's like contract disputes going on between who can participate in the World Baseball Classic and not is a different level. That said, it's also Puerto Rico, who has a strong baseball tradition. I imagine that he just has a connection to the sport through his family or something like that as well.
I feel like Puerto Rico is not a huge island. I'm sure that he is just friends with a lot of these guys too. Like if you're a super famous, wealthy person from Puerto Rico, you probably hang out in the same circles.
Possibly. So that's a bummer, but outside of all that, very, very excited. I think this is the WBC that is like, I mean, surely there's some stars that are missing, but this is the most star-studded one we've had in a while. And I'm like, it's really the dream of the All-Star game is being represented in the WBC, right? Like a team of uber stars playing against each other when they actually want to win.
Couldn't agree more, Nate.
Wow. Well, Hambone, talking about baseball, can you believe pitchers and catchers have reported? We've done it. I did it. You did it. Listener, you did it. Wow. We couldn't have done it without you, could we? It has been actually a pretty quick winter as far as baseball for Cardinals fans go. After years of just boring ass off seasons. Whether it works out or not is we'll find out. But you cannot argue this was the most action packed off season maybe we've ever had as Cardinal fans.
This can't be true, but it feels like Bloom has done more work in a few months than Mo did in 5 years.
Yeah. If you're going from the 2021 season through 2025, we could probably do the numbers on this at some point. He might have done more like trades or major moves in that period than Mo did during that entire time. Now, that being said, of course, like acquiring good win now players for a team that's going for it is very different than just like tearing something down and trading everything, right? It's
fire sale is a lot easier.
Yeah. But point stands as far as just sheer volume of activity. We've had something just about every week this entire offseason, which has made, at least from a baseball standpoint, this offseason fly by. Though, I'm still baseball pitchers and catchers reporting is like the most anticlimactic milestone in the progression towards baseball. It's just simply the act that there are dudes touching baseballs. But mostly we just get injury reports, which of which so far Cardinals are looking okay, but they're coming in around the league as dudes are showing up with broken hands everywhere. We'll talk about that later.
That does keep happening. That is mostly true, but we saw our new acquired prospect, Jurrangelo Cijntje, pitch from both sides yesterday. And I'm not saying that is a precursor to him being a switch pitcher for the Cardinals anytime soon. But that's interesting to me. That's something that didn't happen last year. That's new and a part of pitchers and catchers reporting that is noteworthy, and I'm excited about that.
Yeah, I know. Maybe we missed some reporting on it. It could just be he's warming up and this is just his normal routine and he's just getting loose and he's throwing from both sides. Maybe some people wanted to see it, it in person, and they're like, just go out and do it, and it has no bearing on his actual long-term plans, because I'm still assuming he is going to be a righty going forward. But it wouldn't surprise me if he just personally wants to keep himself loose and keep doing it as like a warm-up routine even.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, why not, right? What is it going to hurt? I've been going since we've acquired him. I keep like one day I'll feel strongly just go right-handed, and I'll have another day where I'm just like, oh well, what if it did work out? Wouldn't that be fun? And there's got to be a lefty in a lineup that he'd be more effective against dropping down to the left side. Now, can the Cardinals and he get to the point where they can leverage that and he's actually pitching a little bit better from the left side, so it's a little more effective? And like, what if it is, I'm just picking a famous lefty, what if it's Freddie Freeman? What if he has the pitch combo that is really good against Freddie Freeman and he's pitching right-handed all game and a critical at-bat comes and he drops down on the left side? Like, that would be so much fun to watch, to talk about, to witness. Will he ever get to the point where he's good enough from that side to do that? I don't know. Do the Cardinals even want to see that out? Probably not. It's a big question mark. And I would imagine that they feel some sense of pressure to squeeze as much juice out of Cijntje as they possibly can, since he's the biggest name that's come back in this fire sale that's happened this last 3 months.
It would be interesting. I completely agree. Like, you can imagine a world where there's a team that has like an incredible, like the modern game, everybody's carrying these platoon guys, right? That like crush righties are just garbage against lefties. And what if the first run through the lineup, you just face him righty, just like normal? Maybe he's up with no one on or something like that. But then in the third inning, he's up again, 2 men on. You flip over lefty. Now he's got to face you, and his splits are so bad that even like a mediocre lefty is better than a really good righty. I mean, that's the dream of this whole thing in the first place, right? So, yeah, maybe Maybe. It seems like why not if you can do it, but clearly it's hard to do anything in this game well, let alone something like this. I don't know. Ohtani's out there doing what he's doing.
Right. And players are only getting more talented. I was randomly looking at Patrick Bailey's numbers this week, just to pick on him for a second. This is a guy that had a 58 WRC plus against left-handed hitters last year. Like, even if you're a bad lefty, would it make sense to drop down? Not that he's great from the against right-handed pitchers. I was going to
say, what was his WRC against righties was pretty bad too, I think.
74.
So, yeah, I think you need to look at like a Jock Peterson or something like that, where they're like crazy platoon splits and they're only getting at bats against righties most of the time. And so the team thinks, oh, Cijntje's a righty. He's just going to pitch righty all the time. And then bam, you trick him with a third inning lefty.
Right. Jock Peterson, just because I was curious, he had a 188 WRC plus. Wait, what? Did he have a really weird year last year?
Last year was not great.
WRC plus versus lefties and a 69 versus righties. What the hell happened to Jock Peterson? That's not what this podcast is about, but that's a very startling numbers. Well, there's some other better example of that, but bizarre.
How bizarre?
Anyways, there is a part of me that, he's so young. Our time frame is, we're at least a couple of years out, even on the earliest time frame. Like, I don't know, maybe it'd be interesting to see what he can do and if he can get better. Maybe the Cardinals have some magic juice they can sprinkle on him.
I continue to go back to my thought is there's a reason the Mariners, who are very, very good at pitcher development, made that decision. And I'd be really surprised if the Cardinals come to a different conclusion.
But they're in a win now window, Nathan.
True.
They need their young players to be good tomorrow.
Yes. But Benjamin, he's also like fourth on their starting pitcher prospect list.
Of course, my dear boy, of course.
They got Ryan Sloan. They got Cade Anderson.
Emerson Hancock, so on and so forth.
So I don't like it when you do this energy back to me. Okay, it's fine if I do it to you, but when you're doing it back to me, I find it all off-putting.
Yeah, okay? I think that if you had to talk to you, you would kill you.
I think I would do a great job talking to me.
All right,
zip zap zap.
Shall we continue, Nathan?
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
We had a move.
We did.
And everybody kind of got mad about it, which makes me like the move just for the lulz. But the Nationals and the Cardinals hooked up for a 1-for-1 swap. We sent our dear buddy Andre Granillo to the Nats for George Soriano. And Nate, there's not a lot to know here. The numbers don't really make sense. What I will say is the numbers that we have available do not make a lot of sense. We talked about Granillo a handful of times last year, especially before he got called up. Like, this is the guy that needs to get called up. He's striking everybody out. The slider's legit. He obviously got his ass kind of kicked around a little bit last year. But the Cardinals move him out for a guy who is older, who has not been successful, who is out of options. And again, based on all the StatCast data, on the FIP, the XFIP, everything we can look at to evaluate a player, it's not making a ton of sense. And I guess I'm kind of at the point where I'm trusting the process right now.
Yeah.
I think that Serfolio, Bloom, whoever else see something about this guy's profile or spin angle or pitch mix or whatever. By the way, he throws very hard. That they think that they can grab him and turn him into something. And for whatever reason, Granillo is just not doing the thing that they wanted to see from him. But I find the whole move a little perplexing right now.
Yeah, it's like there's something that we don't know here, like you said, because so maybe you could argue that the Cardinals and the Nats have realize there's something about Soriano that is worth having. And so in order to get him, the Cardinals had to trade somebody with strong perceived value and a lot of control, right? So that's where the mismatch is. Like we had to give up Granillo to get this guy, and we'll understand it in the future. Or there's something about Granillo we don't know. You know, could be
Yeah.
something in the medicals, timeline, etc. I don't know, which makes it more sense where it's actually he's more aligned in value to Soriano than we know. Because otherwise, like you said, this doesn't make any sense. But we've liked basically every move Bloom has made to some degree.
I think the only thing that's weird about it, because I'll trust them, and I'm looking at the Baseball Savant numbers. Looks like we might have a real nice changeup and a nice fastball. By the way, he throws a changeup, four seam, sinker, slider. He throws them all pretty firmly. The changeup even sitting at 88 miles per hour. The only thing I'm really confused about is the fact that they traded for a guy with no options. So we're going to see this guy pitch, very likely. Now, obviously, there's a huge hodgepodge, and I would not be surprised if, just picking a name out of the hat, Tink Hintz has a lights out spring training and knocks Soriano out of the conversation for a bullpen spot, and we never talk about him again. But where we're slated right now, he's on the team. We'll see him a lot during spring. And that's the only thing that I'm really like, what are we doing here? But I don't know.
Well, there's also
it's also like the 26th man on the roster. I'm not hyper worried about it.
But when you're rebuilding every slot is an opportunity for value, right? Like if you're a team that's win now, and you're like, well, this is our 26th man. We only need him every 8th game or whatever. It's fine. We'll swap it out. That makes sense. But right now, like every spot is an opportunity to find the next guy. So I assume there's something with this guy. But to your point with like we're gonna see him. There's also Matt Pushard, and he is a Rule 5 guy, so he has to be in the bullpen also. So starting to fill up, with people that we have to see. I expect the bullpen to be a bit of a roulette this year. We're gonna see a lot of different guys in and out as we figure out and maybe more trades and whatnot. But I think we probably, barring no Jojo Romero trade, I think we could pretty much speculate right now. I don't think we should do it right now. We got a lot of other things to go on, but like the bullpen's full if you consider Soriano and Pushard and all the other guys.
Matt Swanson isn't going anywhere.
Right.
Riley O'Brien isn't going anywhere.
We're doing it.
Justin Brule has 0 options remaining. That's a good chunk of it right there.
Yeah. So, but there's still another month and a half, and there's the more important this month and a half is they are actually throwing baseballs, and we'll see who makes it out alive. Spring training.
Yeah, like 50 people are going to die in between now and the next episode.
I mean, it is kind of like right now with all these news reports and all these pitchers coming out and throwing for the first time in 3 months, you are kind of just like dodging bullets, hoping all your favorite players make it through spring training healthy. Fortunately for the Cardinals, this is one of the small upsides of a rebuilding year is like, well, we don't really have any veteran that is like critical to the success of the team this year. There's certainly guys that we would be sad if they got hurt and missed time. I'm not saying that, but like, the Mets right now with Lindor, you're like, oh shit, like that could be a huge deal for this season and it's day one. We have no stress about any of that.
No, you could even make the argument that if one of our better players misses significant time, that is a net win because your record is probably worse, meaning that you get a higher draft pick or higher probability. Yeah. And we get to look at somebody else and see. Yeah, I mean, like, so you don't want it, but
worst case scenario is Mason Wynn, maybe like the guy you really hope is another platform year and should give you value, I guess. Like, then it's just, all right, JJ might start at shortstop, instead. So, yeah.
All right. The Cardinals have also claimed a player whose name is Bryan Ramos, who is 23 years old, right-handed hitter, third baseman, 6'2", 225, Nate, and has some legitimate prospect pedigree.
Yeah.
He is a Cuban baseball player. He's been with the White Sox for since 2019. He's had spots where he's put up some really nice numbers. This guy has plus speed. He's a good defender. He has some nice bat speed. He hits the ball hard. But he's only 23. The White Sox gave up on him. I'm very curious about this player because you look at his prospect savant and stuff like that. There are red parts of this guy's profile. Super toolsy and still extremely young. Cardinals just picked him up for nothing, essentially
Yeah.
off the scrap heap. I'm kind of excited just as another thing to kind of watch this spring training.
Yeah, this is a guy that I'm aware of, as somebody who does like deep dynasty fantasy baseball, generally have a understanding of like the prospect landscape. And this guy had some real heat behind him for quite a while. So I knew this name, and when the Cardinals picked him up, it's like, okay, that's interesting. This isn't just somebody out of nowhere. Like this guy has projected very well at different times in his career. But he just couldn't put it together. He was pretty bad at the major league level. But I was a little surprised the White Sox have decided to completely move on from him. That said, they're doing a whole new thing with their infield, and they're pretty loaded up with other young guys. He's out of options, so I can see why they decided to move on from him. But he's so young and has shown such upside at times. I think it's kind of fun. The tricky part of this is, okay, he also has no option, so he needs to play. He's primarily a third baseman. Is this just Gorman backup and this guy's going to ride the bench, and or are we going to see like maybe a real competition for starts here? Gorman, maybe the leash just got a little bit shorter on Gorman, and now Ramos is going to get an extended look if Gorman has a terrible spring or terrible, April or something like that. Like, how does he fit in is the big question to me.
I think this is a potential option for your right-handed bat all over the place. This guy's fast. He's athletic. He's been a third baseman for a while, but you acquire him. He hits left-handed hitters or pitchers pretty well, even though, and it's very limited. Like I said, you pull up the prospect savant. There's a lot of red on the page there. I don't know. Maybe this guy is a backup. Maybe this guy's Miguel Andujar. I'm not betting any money on that, but I would bet a very small amount of money, like the Cardinals have put on the line for acquiring this guy on that.
Yeah.
And I think it's worth a shot. Let him do it. See if he impresses. See if a little change of scenery gets that batting average up. But this guy, he has a prospect savant score of 90, slightly over 90, which anything above really 85 is really interesting. It just means super toolsy. He had a max exit velo in the minors of 110 miles per hour. And he's a righty. I don't know, this is the stage of baseball that we're in right now, where I am pretty excited to see what Bryan Ramos can bring, and maybe he pops. Who knows?
Well, like I said, this is a guy that I've actually been, so like, this is boring to everyone but me, but I had him on one of my dynasty leagues that I care a lot about. So I actually like followed Bryan Ramos for quite a while. And like when he got called up, I was excited, and then he like struggled really badly and all that. And I don't have him anymore in any of in those leagues because of how bad it went and just the nature of fantasy baseball. But I've been hyped on this guy before. So when the Cardinals pick him up, it's like, that's kind of fun. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. And if this is their solution to the right-handed bat, like, this makes so much more sense to me than all these other guys we had been talking about, right? I've been pretty unwilling to buy into, we absolutely need a veteran right-handed bat. And to some degree, the Cardinals seem to have agreed with me at this point, since they passed on Miguel Andujar for $4 million. And like this, okay, a righty with upside. Like, there's something useful to the future of the Cardinals by giving him an at bat, other than giving other dudes firm slaps on the butt after a nice at bat, or whatever the veteran presence thing is.
Yeah. I think that obviously rose-colored glasses here, but it could be him and Sajaci fighting out for that right-handed infield, outfield,
Yeah.
platoon, utility man spot. And I don't really care who wins that. I think whoever is playing well will be a player that I'm excited to watch and go for it.
Yeah, there's also the very real reality that the White Sox might have bungled his development
No.
and ascent into the major league level. I know we don't have much ground to stand on as far as Cardinals fans go and the development cycle of Cardinal prospects, but we've seen very real examples of White Sox leaving the White Sox and being very successful somewhere else almost immediately. So maybe that'll be the case here. I'm really interested about Luis Robert this year. I feel like he's about to win an MVP.
They just announced, I think they made it official, he's going to be the center fielder.
Yeah.
Which I think it's going to be a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, he's got to stay healthy,
Yeah, I wonder if he even finds a little more health outside of the White Sox. Just very little faith in them. They had no one was steering the ship. There was no reason to go out there and play hard. I think that he's going to have a nice time. And there's probably prospect juice to squeeze. I'm also I feel like I'm saying this over and over again. I'm just going to trust the new brain trust right now. They like Bryan Ramos for some reason. Let's see what he can do.
Yeah, I think just unlike the George Soriano sort of thing, like it's clear why you might like Bryan Ramos.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Tools all over the place.
Yeah, there's thousands of these acquisitions every offseason, and some of them don't even make it to spring training, right? How many guys have the Cardinals plucked off waivers and then are replaced by someone else that they pluck off waivers a week or two later? Who knows? We don't want to get too ahead of ourselves. He may show up to spring and carry a 40% strikeout rate and just not make it to the major league roster after that. There's a real possibility of all of that, but it's fun. And this is where we have to find the fun in the rebuild years, is like, let's dream on Bryan Ramos. Let's give him a shot and see what we got.
You throw enough of these types of guys at the wall that have plus tools. We're really hoping we're going to look up in a few months and have a at least interesting team to watch. All right, let's move on. Just a couple of spring training notes. Victor Scott II was talking with Derek Gould. He said that he had worked on his inefficient swing. He said he had too many swing thoughts and was cheating to break from the box, which I thought was interesting. It's funny that a guy who was one of the fastest people in baseball felt the need to cheat to first base. A left-handed guy that's as fast as he is still felt the need to cheat towards first base. Kind of just funny how people's brains works. But he felt like those two things were causing him to spin away from pitches. And he said his new swing is much shorter, more compact, and better use of energy and improved hip rotation. He also went on to say that he thinks that his goal is to get on base to a degree which he would like to double his stolen base total from last year. We talked about it last week. Swing change talk is, it's better than best shape of his life talk.
Yeah.
But I just want Victor Scott to be the center fielder of the future. I want up the middle. I want the Cardinals to be Ivan Herrera, Mason Wynn, J.J. Weatherholt, and Victor Scott. I want them all to be here for a while and be good. If I say it enough, it will happen. I know.
That's all we want.
I'll do a blood sacrifice or something, whatever.
Are you gonna? Hey, all right. So if
I'm looking at you.
What if you had in front of you a button, and if you press that button, all of that comes true.
Yeah.
But also somebody in the world dies.
Dies?
One person in the world. You don't know who it is. It could be anybody. I guess including yourself. How about that? But it's a 1 in 8 billion or whatever.
Yeah. It could be Vladimir Putin. It could also be like a little baby that was just no, I don't think I push it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Sorry to give you a boring
Come
answer.
on. Come on. I thought you
Would
cared
you?
about the St. Louis Cardinals. Won't you just kill one random person so that we have a good up the middle?
Well, that's the problem with that question is it could just be a win-win. Like if it's somebody like Putin that just and then the team like I'm killing it. But if it's
JJ
not that
Weatherholt.
person,
No.
if it's JJ Weatherholt. I guess to fulfill my wish, it would have to be the corpse of JJ Weatherholt who's making all-star teams.
Actually, now I like it. Although that's pretty spooky.
Yeah,
Might
that
be
is
a little too spooky for me.
Talk about zombie runner. Am I right, Nate? Okay. Oh, and another note from spring training: Derek Gould reports that a 6-man rotation is possible in the conversation in between Ali Marmol and Chaim Bloom and the Goons, similar to what we did at the beginning of the year last year. I feel like we may have hit this at some point. Couldn't be more on board with it, though. I think they should absolutely do it. I see no reason not to do it. Keep your guys healthy. Liberatore, May, keep those guys healthy.
Yeah.
Get more looks. Dobbins, Fitz, whoever else is creeping around the rotation. I think it makes all of the sense. Let's absolutely do it. And there are guys in this bullpen that I don't necessarily need to see. However, there is a thing to note. When you do a 6-man rotation, that does make every head in your bullpen more important. But it kind of doesn't matter because we're not really trying to win and we're just trying to look at guys right now.
Right. We're just trying to look at guys. Yeah. I mean, I've been calling for a 13-man rotation. So 6-man is one closer than we were before. But I think under the current construct of how baseball works, 6-man makes a lot of sense. And that sort of thing will eventually solve itself anyway. So 3 will be good and we'll start to want to ramp up their innings to be better for the next year. And 2 will struggle and let's swap them out and all that. So why not? Like we've said, we have basically a team full of 3s and 4s. Let's just spread them all out and just see what we've got. And eventually the ranking will sort of start to align itself and we'll see, okay, this guy we actually do want to get on a 5-day recurring schedule because we know now he's pretty much locked in and we want to create some predictability in innings and growth and whatnot. But until we're there, let's get them all out there.
Yeah. Do you think so? Looking at roster resource right now, they have the prediction for the 5-man rotation: Liberatore, May, Palante, McGreevy, Leahy. Thoughts? Do you agree?
No, I don't agree. I can't imagine both Fitz and Dobbins are not I can't imagine both of them are not in the rotation to start.
I agree. I think that's probably the biggest change. So even if you have 6 guys, you have to think that Fitz and Dobbins are right now better than Palante.
Yeah.
And Leahy is such a big question mark. We just really don't know. I don't think anybody knows, even him. McGreevy, the runway makes sense. So I think the competition will be actual this year in spring training, and it'll sort itself out.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know how you put Leahy over both Fitz and Dobbins right now. But that so much more of this that's what spring training is really settling. So I think this whole thing will be pretty different by the time we get to March 26th.
Yeah. All right, Nate, let's talk about the FanGraphs release their Cardinals top 53.
Yes.
Nathan, prospects list. It was written by James Fagan this year. I think you and I are not prospect experts. I think we'll probably have a friend on to help us chop through this at some point. But curious, just any standouts, any interesting notes from the top 53 prospects list that was put out this week?
I love how deep it went. I have not read the whole thing yet, but I've been churning my way through it. I thought so right at the top, very top, no real surprises, except for I thought it was interesting that Crooks is 4. Like really projecting Jimmy Crooks as maybe more than what most Cardinal fans are feeling right now. And they did make a comparison to a guy you mentioned earlier with Patrick Bailey. someone who has elite defense that the organization is just sort of comfortable running out, hoping that the offense will follow. And so I thought that was an interesting comparison. And I don't know that he ranks up against Bailey right now, but like you could see that thought process. We'll see how he lands along the huge ranking of all these other Cardinal prospects, including another guy way up there, which is Reinel Rodriguez. He's a few years behind, but a thing that stood out to me too is it projects him to stick at catcher, which he's very, very young. A lot of things can change, but I think a lot of times when guys that young show such offensive prowess, like the discussion of moving to another position starts to happen. And this is treating him like he will be a future catcher, which is interesting. And then finally, as far as like notes on the top, Cijntje, number 5.
Yeah.
I guess I didn't expect him to be that high. I did expect him to be top 10. I think MLB.com has him as like 9 for the Cardinals. I like FanGraphs rankings a lot better. Just in general, we're big fans of FanGraphs here. And I guess I'm glad to see him that high because, one of my takeaways of the Brendan Donovan trade is that like they went quantity with upside instead of just pure quality on this trade. And because Cijntje doesn't rank considerably high on like league-wide rankings. But for the fact that with this trade, the Cardinals did go and add a new top 5 prospect to their list as well as all the other things. It made me enjoy the return even a little bit more. So that's just some of my initial takeaways from the top of the rankings. What stood out to you?
Yeah, so I wanted to read my favorite line from the article, and that is, it's said, and how does anyone describe this glut of prospects anyway? And Fagan goes on to write, the Cardinal system is like Costco. There is a wide selection, and it's all available in bulk. And
we love
it. We love it. First
Yeah.
up, we're Costco guys. Okay. We're those guys. We're those two weird.
We're the Costco guys.
Yeah, that weird family. But reading through
isn't it weird that there's like a 9-year-old running around right now that is being associated with like Riz?
Yeah, our world is bad, Nate.
I'm not trying to be old man. Old man yells at clouds. Everyone can like whatever they like, but like, there's not a single there's no smooth 9-year-olds. Okay, I know. I get this kid. He's a fast talking little wise guy.
Yeah,
right?
He's not like out there sleeping with women. It's like that's not happening, right?
I don't.
That's the implication.
He's being treated like that. Is the whole thing that is strange to me. Like, oh man, here's the Rizzler. He's gonna come in and fuck my wife. Isn't that the energy that is being like that they're throwing?
Riz means charisma. I think you're risen. Yeah, that's what. Yeah. I mean, I don't know enough to dispute this.
I don't know enough either. I could be way wrong. It could be it could be very wholesome. I just the vibe I've gotten from the stuff I've a little bit that I've participated in.
If there's anything we've learned from history, it's that if you launch a child into fame and a public persona and notoriety, they age gracefully.
Well. Yeah,
and nothing wrong happens.
Yeah, it goes great.
But back to these baseball players, Nate. I think my biggest takeaway was looking at the list. The Cardinals have 22 players with a 40 plus or higher future value ranking from FanGraphs. They have 33 players with just a solid 40 or above. So we're looking, obviously some of these guys are going to explode. Things are going to go poorly, but just on balance, looking at them right now, there is a good, or the industry believes 33 of these guys can make a major league impact at some point in their career.
Yeah.
Obviously, the 33 through 53, some of those guys are going to pop. Some of them are going to go well. Some of them won't go well. So you look at all that, and that's just amazing to have that many potential lottery tickets or guys that could impact the big league level. I think the catchers obviously stand out to me. But the pitching, seeing Brandon Clark be so high up there, seeing players like Quinn Matthews, Tinkets, Takao Roby, still sticking around, even though that their acceleration is kind of stalled out.
Yeah.
And what also stands out to me is that some of the players that we acquired through all of this aren't even on this list because they've already graduated. We were talking about Dobbins and Fitz. Like, there's other players that have been acquired over this time that aren't even on this list. So I feel very positive about all of this. I feel very hopeful. I am excited to watch all these guys matriculate. And I guess one other thing I'll say, and in between this article and the article with Rob Serfolio on FanGraphs that happened on Tuesday this week, boy, oh boy, the industry and the Cardinals are high on Liam Doyle.
Yeah, so that's the thing I was about to say. So, and same, I've been, we both have been, but been very high on Liam Doyle and his future, future stuff. And to put a point on that, as you were talking about future value, FanGraphs has JJ Weatherholt, Liam Doyle, and Rainel Rodriguez all at the same future value. So as hyped as you are right now about JJ Weatherholt, you should be is equally hyped for Liam Doyle and Rainel Rodriguez, who's 19 years old. There's a lot of time still between now and him being at the MLB level, maybe.
The write-up on him, though, is also very, very bullish and exciting.
It's very, very bullish. So those three guys, like that right there is a prospect core, so there's a lot of reasons to be excited about this team. I think there's a real chance. They project Liam Doyle for 2027. I think that's fine, but I think we could see him this year if he continues to rise like he has been. And Rainel right now is looking like one of those guys who debuts at 20, 21 years old in the major league level, which is always fun.
Yeah, everything that people are talking about, just like his body, the swing path, the power, the makeup, like the on-field, off the field, everything is plus. It is very exciting.
Yeah, well, he is ranked against JJ Weatherholt. Already at 19, they're saying he is as good a prospect as JJ Weatherholt. So the crazy thing is that like JJ Weatherholt's prospect future value ranking isn't going to change at this point. He's going to make the major league level, and we'll see. Now he could far exceed 55. He could end up below. We'll find out. Rainel, like at being 55 already at 19 years old, like he still could. That could go up.
He could be the best prospect in baseball in a couple of years.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. I guess one other thing I'll note, and then we can get off of it. I thought the write-up on Baez was a little light. They compare like this guy could be Patrick Wisdom. And I think that makes sense. We're very hyped on him and what he did last year. Obviously, there's swing and miss. But I would say that just to put a little bit of water on that thought process, I think it's important to note that he's still 22. He'll be 23 midway through summer. This kid is young and big and only getting better. I think that 45 future value is going to jump up maybe midway through the season. If he's not with the big league team, we'll see how fast he rises.
Yeah, I think the reality of the fact is that his risk profile is pretty clear. And not only is it a profile, it was reality. There's a reason why he was plummeting off of prospect list and just really the face of the map after striking out an insane amount. So now he has made an adjustment. He's put it together. The hit tool risks are falling away, but he's not doing it at the major league level. So there's still a very, I think it's the floor is what keeps his future value so low, is because he could crush the minors based off of his adjustments, make it to the majors, and just can't deal with the spin or the velo or whatever it is. And the hit tool risks come back and he ends up hitting 240, with some power and speed, but is a flawed overall, player. So I wasn't too surprised to see it like at that, because one season of dominance after more than a season of real struggles does not completely turn around your entire profile. But I do think it speaks to just how incredible he was last year that he's gone all the way up to 7th on this list and he's a consensus top 100, if not top 50 prospect around baseball after basically one incredible season after some real struggles.
Yeah. It is fun. All right. Any other prospecty stuff you want to talk about, Nate?
No, like you said, I think we'll do a deeper dive on this, and we're probably going to do an episode pretty much fully focused on the farm system here pretty soon. But I saw this list and was excited about it and happy to talk a little bit about it too.
Yeah. And did we say Brandon Clark's name? I just want to say his name, and man, he is exciting too. All right. The Cardinals' $108 million spring training facility opens for business. If you didn't see it, Derek Gould was on TikTok this week walking us through all the new buildings, which was kind of fun. The new facilities include a new 6-lane batting cage with upgraded weight and conditioning and training facility, new clubhouse. There's the pitching lab. And the swing analysis lab. And it's just, it's this season of change that the Cardinals are in. We got a new GM. We got all these new prospects. We got a new facility in spring training. We have a glowing red script St. Louis Cardinals sign out front to really show off all this new stuff and new spend and everything. In the video that Derek Gould posted, there's new just whole sections of baseball fields that are new from last year. It's I don't know, new look Cardinals, Nate.
And we'll be there in like 3 weeks to walk around there ourselves. So that'll be fun. You think they'll let us get in those batting cages?
I was just gonna say get a pump in, get a lift in, and throw up some weights next to guys like Ronel Rodriguez and
Jesus.
And I feel like Ivan Herrera probably lifts a lot of weight too. He just
I was thinking about him
strong.
too. He's the most tenured Cardinal, not necessarily at major league level, right? But he's been a Cardinal since he was like 16 or whatever. So he, of all of them, has seen probably this progression of Jupiter more than most. So I think it'll be interesting for him. I wonder what his takeaway will be on like the new facility and everything.
Yeah. It is funny that we are celebrating this in the year 2026, where I feel like every other team did this a decade ago.
Yeah.
Except for the Rockies and some other teams. But, the Cardinals finally getting on board, finally putting the money where they need to, doing the thing, not to mention having enough coaches to man these various stations is all good news that I'm here for.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to getting down there and walking around on it and getting to look at it. I mean, neither of us had been to the old Jupiter.
Do you think they did it for us?
Of course, you and I have both been to Jupiter to get more stupider many times in our life, but this will be our first time down to. Ben's just leaning back, rubbing his eyes. That's the one that made you fall backwards?
It was everything about it I hated, but let's move on.
I'm looking forward to being in Jupiter, Florida with the boys.
Okay.
Looking at boys.
All right, Nate. I think that's all I got.
All right. Well, we're going to talk about some of the other league news and the thrilling conclusion of one of the games we started during this offseason. But before we get to that, we want to remind our listeners that this show is listener supported on Patreon, patreon.com/talkingaboutbirds. If you want to support the show, support the time and the energy and the effort that we put in to bring this to you every single week, over 200 weeks straight now. We've been doing this. And if you want to show your support directly for that, please consider joining the Patreon. Subscribers to that Patreon get access to our private Discord server. We call it the Bird Scored. We talk about it a fair amount on this show at this point, as it's really our hub for talking about the Cardinals. It's where we're all, it almost feels like there's a race at this point on who can post breaking Cardinal news on the Bird Scored first. It's legitimately become a resource for me, as well as just a cool place to hang out and talk to other Cardinal fans and get, actual humans interaction and not whatever the hell is happening on most social media. And patrons also get access to early episodes. We have most of them out on Wednesday afternoon to evening. So if that fits your schedule better, consider joining. And you also can be a really cool person like Sam G, who just joined this week. Thank you, Sam. We appreciate it. Super excited to have you as a part of the Bird Scored and a part of the Patreon. So again, that's patreon.com/talkingaboutbirds. If you can't, we do understand that, of course. But please take a moment to leave a review on your favorite podcast platform. That really helps boost the episode. And what boosts it the most right now, though, is telling your friends and your family. It's baseball season, Hambone.
Can argue that.
Can't argue it. And people are out there looking for content, and we're bringing it to you. So tell them.
We're slinging tent, baby.
We're slinging tent. We're going camping, baby. Wow. Hambone, where else can people find us online?
We got those socials. We have Blue Sky. We have Instagram. We have TikTok. You can watch this episode and look at my cat has just been sitting right over my shoulder this entire episode, being very cute.
Yeah.
You can look at us and my cat on YouTube if you prefer to do that. You can find all podcast links, information, T-shirts, all that crap at talkingaboutbirds.com. You can email us, of course, at talkaboutbirds@gmail.com. And as always, you can call us and leave a voicemail or send us a text message to 848-48-BIRDS. That's 848-482-4737.
848-48-BIRDS. Also, shout out to friend of the show, Brandon, who left us a very funny voicemail, Hambone. He really connected with my story about the woman snatching the piece of pizza out of my hands. It almost hit him a little too close to home. But hey, if you have you want to share a comment or a thought about the episode, about what we're doing, call and leave us a voicemail. You don't have to talk to us. You go straight to voicemail. So you can just say whatever you want.
Yeah. Whatever you
want.
Anything.
Be nice, though.
We do have feelings.
All right, Hambone, the offseason's wrapping up, but there's still a lot of movement. We've covered some of this already this episode, but what do you want to talk about?
Corbin Carroll is going to undergo surgery to fix his little handmade bones, his little bird bones in his hand.
I know.
Sadly, he is going to miss the WBC and spring training. He was projected to be the starting right fielder for Team USA and the Diamondbacks. So just a bummer. One of our game's best going down, and he's going to miss at least a month.
Yeah, and these are the things like you just never know how this is going to impact someone's swing for the year. Like, yeah, he's going to miss spring training, which sucks and can impact how someone ramps up. But also, I think, wasn't it Kyle Tucker? It was revealed he had a broken hamate through like half the season last year when he hit like 3 home runs over 2 months. And Corbin Carroll's a big power guy, but he's not a big guy. So everything kind of has to be working perfectly. So I think, we'll see. People have had worse and come back stronger. But these are the sorts of things you worry about, especially with guys like his profile and how it can impact them.
And a smaller guy too.
Yeah.
It's he had that shoulder issue, now the hand issue, but hopefully he'll be back and effective quickly. The Detroit Tigers, Nathan, have just signed Justin Verlander. He is coming back to Detroit.
Yeah.
I love this move. I think it's a ton of fun. I like what the Tigers roster looks like right now. I like what their starting rotation looks like. I feel like, they're asking Verlander to be a number 5, essentially, which I think is great. And I love that he is a guy that just keeps pitching as an old man. He'll be 43 this year.
Yeah.
They gave him, I think it was $13 million. And, the Dodgers bring back a legend. I think Tigers. This is good.
Yeah.
Sorry.
We're just so used to the Dodgers bringing in legends. Yeah, and this was announced around the same time that it was announced Reese Olson is going to miss the entire season. So they had an open spot on their rotation. They do have. Do you remember Troy Melton from the playoffs last year, pumping 100 miles per hour?
Yeah.
He is pushed out of the rotation by Justin Verlander, but I'm assuming they're looking at all these guys and thinking, well, someone's going to get hurt, and we'll have this young guy, coming out to fill that fifth or sixth man. But for a team that's going for it, and so we didn't talk about any of them in this episode, but a lot of the standings projection systems are coming out, Pacoda and whatnot, and the AL Central, as expected, is both bad and close. So all of these moves, like I wouldn't even really call the Tigers a bad team. Even it's funny that they're just not a deep team. But every one of these moves is going to move the needle for them, assuming he's healthy. And the combination of Framber and Verlander, could be all that they need to move into the first place spot out of that division.
I think that, and I think their team is just continuing on the offensive side. I think, when you look at players like Dingler and Torkelson and Green, even Kerry Carpenter, I think those guys are going to, they're still trending upwards. Keith, still trending upwards.
I think we might, Torkelson has been an interesting one. I still think he has another level in him. He hits the ball super hard. So we'll see. I mean, he hit over 30 home runs last year, but I think there's still another, he could have a 40+ season.
Yeah, I agree. Like the move, the Rangers have brought in former Cardinal legend Jordan Montgomery.
Yeah, I mean, it was inevitable he was going to sign somewhere. What a weird, career he's had at this point. Never like an overpowering guy, and really has been hurt or ineffective for basically since he left the Cardinals. After his half season with the Rangers, he hasn't done much. But we've said it a ton with pitchers. Kind of doesn't matter what your past is; it's what you're doing right now. So if he's healthy, he might be good.
I don't know if it's just because I watched him pitch really well for the Cardinals for essentially a season, and maybe I'm being tricked by that, but I just think that if he is healthy, he's going to be 33 this upcoming year. I just think I think he's good. And I think I'll be very curious to see what happens, how his spring training looks, if he's given a shot. The Rangers have an interesting rotation to begin with. But a fragile one. We'll see what happens. But I am kind of always pulling for this guy, and I think he's going to have a nice year if he can stay healthy and pitch actually.
Yeah.
The Rockies, Nathan, they just keep. You think they're gonna go this way? They go the other way.
Wow.
They just keep making
that's
moves.
De Podesta, right? Moneyball. It's everyone's going this way. We're going that way.
They brought in Jose Quintana on a 1-year deal. And I don't think we actually talked about this, but they also brought Tomoyuki Sugano. So they have a full starting rotation of people who are probably major league pitchers going into the season right now.
And aren't we excited, folks? I don't know what to say. Sugano, 30, what is Sugano, like 36? Quintana's 35.
37.
37, okay.
Lorenzen is 34, and Kyle Freeland is going to be 33. But Chase Dolander.
Yeah.
Remember him?
Poor Chase Dolander.
We're excited about it out here in the Rockies. So.
I like to see them doing anything, I guess. They're fun. They're easy to laugh at. I do want the Rockies to be good. It's a beautiful stadium. You go to games there all the time. I go to games sometimes with you there. It would be fun if it was like, oh, this is actually an interesting team and whatnot, and it never is. So I hope that they're good, but I don't know. I guess I wouldn't think the path to success is through Sugano and Quintana, though we've liked Quintana in the past.
They are major league pitchers.
They are major league pitchers. That's a good point. Every name you just listed is a guy that I have heard that name before, which is not
Booyah.
that's a booyah, baby.
All right.
That's a booyah.
That's a booyah. All right. That's all the news I got this week, Nathan.
All right. Well, Hambone, with the off season essentially wrapping up, and almost every major free agent signed, most free agents at this point have signed. I thought it would be time for us to check in on the little game we played that we started a few months ago that we were calling Draft Day off season edition. See if I remember to put the song in.
What's the deal with
or
Zach
not.
Gallen? What's the deal with Zach Gallen?
Yeah, I don't know. He's had such a weird couple years. I wonder if he's asking for more than what anyone's willing to pay him right now, or if there's something because sometimes these guys that like linger in the off season, we end up finding out something about it, right? Was dealing with a shoulder thing or something like that, plans to come back in July or whatever.
Yeah.
So that might be the case, or just the market. I mean, Valdez just signed really a week and a half ago, so some of these like latter pieces will start to fall into place.
All right.
But what was his? What I mean, because he really hasn't been particularly effective for a couple years now, right? Like,
no, but he's 30 years old and he used to be good. Nobody's offered him a pillow contract? I mean, let's go.
Yeah,
I find it kind of crazy.
Yeah, that's good. So
he should accept a pillow contract is actually what I think. I just find it bizarre that a pitcher of his quality, I know he's coming off of a down year, is not signed yet.
Yeah, and to be clear, last year 1.1 F/WAR, not great. One of the better pitchers in the St. Louis Cardinal organization, but not great against the league. In 2024, 2.8 F/WAR. So that's returning value. And the year before was when he did 5.2. So he's only 1 year off of a productive year and 2 years off of a very good all-star level year. So maybe he's asking for a lot and just no one's willing to do it. Something like that.
Yeah.
But the reason I want to talk about this game is that I think there's a few things about the offseason that we.
Oh my God, Nate, I'm so sorry to interrupt you, but I have breaking news. I just refreshed MLB trade rumors.
Okay.
The Nationals are signing Miles Mikolas.
I thought it was going to be Zach Gallen just with the way we were going. Well, you know what? Good for old Miles. He sticks around. I can't understand why, but we've shit on Miles Mikolas enough. I'll say good for him for getting another deal. Maybe he bounces back. The Nationals need innings. I can see it. You could do worse. I know. So good for him. I look forward to the Cardinals getting a shot at that middle fastball.
This is your replacement for oh God, I can't think of their
Gore.
Mackenzie Gore. Yeah. All right, sorry, I threw you off. Keep going.
Cutting a K/9 in half. Okay, so a refresher on the game if you don't remember or weren't there when we did it. A few months ago, we did a snake draft of the remaining free agents, and we were going to track how much money they made in total, and whoever acquired the most money combined would win. So, Ben, you had the first overall draft pick. I had the second. You took one, I took two, then you took two, and so on and so forth. We picked 5 total guys. I will go down the list of our teams, and then we'll talk about results. So, Hambone, you had Kyle Tucker, Bo Bichette, Cody Bellinger, Michael King, and Murakami. I had Ranger Suarez, Framber Valdez, Alex Bregman, Eugenio Suarez, and Imai over from Japan. So how you feeling about your team and the group that you selected?
I mean, I think at the time when we were doing this draft, the fact that I was able to get Bo Bichette, I was feeling really, really strong about my draft post that, the fact that you did not go for him.
Uh-huh.
That being said, you could argue that was my worst value pick. He ended up going short term, super
Yeah.
high AAV. And, we're just going by guaranteed money. Like, what if the deal plays out? It's highly likely that he will play for the Mets for 1 year, go back into free agency and get a bigger contract. So, obviously, still happy with my draft. But Bo Bichette, I thought was going to get close to the Kyle Tucker 240 that he signed for. Also, Kyle Tucker only signing for 240 was a big surprise. It's a weird offseason.
That's really what I want to talk about, why I kind of wanted to go back to this game, not just for following through on it, but like the landscape of these deals is really interesting. So, yeah, I was never big on Bichette getting a long, really huge deal. I think he had enough down years throughout his rookie contract that though the upside was there, no one would be willing to pay him what I think you and many others were thinking he would get. So it did turn out to be right on that. However, from an AAV standpoint, I can still way wrong. I would have never projected him getting that degree of AAV, but I was right. No one wanting to go really long on him. So it was that me not being convinced Bichette would be good is what made me go with Suarez and Valdez, which ultimately turned out okay. As far as like I could have taken Bichette, but I took Valdez, and their difference is only $11 million. That's not what really changed the game for me. Where I think made my bigger mistakes was later in the draft. I really thought someone would pay Suarez for more than 1 year, considering you just hit 49 home runs.
Not believe how little money he got.
Yeah.
15 million guaranteed.
And then I also thought Imai would get
Yeah.
a lot more. He also ended up going the short-term deal with a higher AAV in order to establish himself. So that really was the story of the offseason. But before we get to that, let's go through the numbers and we'll get the results. So Hambone, Kyle Tucker, 240 million, Bo Bichette, 126 million, Cody Bellinger, 162.5, Michael King, 75, and Murakami, 34, which brought your total to $637.5 million. Mine was Framber Valdez, 115, Ranger Suarez, 130, Alex Bregman, 175. That was my big win there.
Still shocking on that
Yeah.
one. That was another surprising move.
Yeah, the second highest of our whole little game here, I got with my third pick in Alex Bregman, which you would think would have set me up for real success. But Eugenio Suarez is 15, and Imai's 54 ultimately had me at 489. So you beat me by about 140 million, which, to be fair to me, was a huge chunk of that is the 240 Kyle Tucker deal. We knew you getting Kyle Tucker first overall would be a big advantage. But we also thought it might end up different than we were expected. And frankly, he ended up about $100-something million less, if not
right,
$300 to $400 million less than we thought, which was really the story of this offseason was all these short-term deals for high AAV with a lot of opt-outs. What's your take on that? Why do you think that everybody's moving that way right now?
I feel like we've talked about this. Does seem like the future to me. Is you're mitigating risk, you're mitigating the awkwardness of the later in life, like when Vladdy's 39 and they're still paying him whatever $38 million a year or whatever that deal ended up working out to. You avoid that. You get the thing that you want right now. And I think if you're a big market club, the Dodgers, the Mets, the Yankees, Cubs, you can go throw shocking money at somebody. And if you're Kyle Tucker, how do you not take an AAV of $57.2 million per year over that short a time? You can still sign another contract and and go play for another team, go make more money. I think there's a lot of incentive to do it. And also, like, they're just a fact of the matter, like simple finance, like more money now is better than money later.
Yeah.
So I'm sure the players and their finance guys are saying, if you can get $60 million a year, we we will set you up to
Yeah.
make more on that money in the future than you could even conceive of a deal because you're investing that money and making money off of that money. So I think it makes sense for the big market clubs. I think it makes sense for players. I'm not surprised. I kind of thought this would have happened earlier when we had, like, it was a couple of years ago, we had the inverse of this happening, the Xander Bogart styles deals. And that made no sense to me.
Right.
I thought that was the exact opposite of what I would be arguing for or doing if I was in a front office. I think it makes a lot of sense. I'm not surprised. I'm surprised that everyone seemed to have the same idea at the same off season.
Yeah. Well, it does seem to be like like someone signs that way and they're like, oh, that's what we're doing now. All right, that sounds good to me. I'll take more right now. Some of these guys it's also like in a Mahi, maybe just deciding like we know like he did have some longer term deals, but like thinks there's better value after a good year or two in the league. So there's some like personal equations in here too. But overall, yeah, I don't know how you would ever turn this down. And then if you just assume, barring some sort of salary cap type thing, which may happen, if you assume that this is going to be the way of the future and these things are going to continue to escalate, like you said, Kyle Tucker can take us 4 years at $60 million a year, do those 4 years, and then go get another 3-year, $250 million deal or whatever it is, and just keep stacking these short-term deals. So why not? And honestly, I think it's probably more fun for fans too. Like we all love the Bryce Harper 13-year deal where he's like, I'm a Philly for life. And that's like I think that's probably like the platonic ideal of sports, is that you like bring these guys in and they bleed, the colors of the flag and they're your guy and you just never have to worry about it. He's going to be there every year. But that works out so rarely for both sides. That I think like the entire league just basically going mercenary style and like, I'll play wherever I can every year. That makes the most sense for me. If the league is on equal standing, if everybody has similar access to these types of guys, then I could see that being, more interesting. I think I could be wrong here, but I think soccer, like at the international stage, kind of does that. Most guys are on short-term deals and you kind of just move to wherever the best place is, whoever will, it makes the most sense for you and whatnot. So it happens already to some degree in other leagues. And it seems like it's happening here. The problem you run into, and I kind of just hinted at it, is that if there's only like 5 teams that are willing to spend, then it's just going to be all the best guys just rotate around these like 4 teams on these mega short-term deals that like, I mean, I've been all on every team can spend more money. I believe that firmly, but you cannot expect the Cleveland Guardians to spend $60 million on Kyle Tucker.
No.
They could probably put the money together for a 10-year, $400 million deal, and they project it out down the line on the return on investment and whatnot, and they can defer it and all that and make it work for their organization. They're not going to spend 70% of their existing budget on one guy. So if it continues this way, I could see it being problematic, but I think that's a part of what the CBA and all that's about to figure out one way or another. I did see an interesting take on that though. Well, I've been talking for a while. What before you?
Oh, I was just going to say, I do think that there is some like player specific motivations. Like you talk about the Cleveland Guardians, you look at Jose Ramirez,
right?
He has made the decision for longer term, less value. He could absolutely go out and got one of these 50, 60 million a year AAVs, but he didn't want to. And Kyle Tucker and Bo Bichette wanted to. And it's also, there's a possibility that is the thing that is clustered up more than anything else, is that there are guys who are willing to say yes to these deals And maybe traditionally that's not the case. I think it could, it takes two.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure Bryce Harper wanted the money, but he also wanted the stability of not having to go through free agency again. Seems like Kyle Tucker doesn't care about that. Seems like Bo Bichette doesn't care about that.
Yeah. Yeah. Possibly. I did see an interesting take that if you're actually really concerned about if you as a player and an agent pool are really concerned about an extended lockout, these short-term deals are not what you would be going for.
Right.
I thought that was interesting.
Because you're going to miss a huge portion of that payday.
Yeah. So maybe they're just all going into the offseason like who knows what's going to happen. We can't account for that, so let's not account for that. But I think most of us, I know you and I included, are pretty well concerned and convinced at this point that 2027 is going to be a lockout year to some degree. And a way to read this offseason is that the players and the agents are not as worried as we might be, which is interesting. Who knows?
I go back and forth on that. I think if the sport could think holistically, they would not lock out. I think it would be an absolute death nail for them. But it's hard for them to do that.
Yeah. I mean, baseball's back, baby. Like it's been the second.
They really got to keep it going.
It's the second most popular sport right now.
Nothing pisses off all kinds of fans more than all these rich people squabbling about money.
Yeah.
Whether we're pro worker, but it's just a fact of the matter. Most people don't care. Just get on the field and play so I can take my family to the game. And they're totally fine for having that opinion. I don't blame anybody for that.
100%. Like, I feel pretty convinced that like this deal for Kyle Tucker and whatnot, like good for Kyle Tucker. The players are the ones who deserve the money. But if anybody wants to say like, I'm less interested in baseball because that guy just made $400 million, or that makes me mad. I get that because an extension of that is the increased prices of everything related to being a fan of baseball,
Right.
So yeah, it's tricky. I'm hopeful that they are smart enough to not go through a lockout. It's never a good time, but this would be one of the worst. Baseball is ascending right now. At least the ratings and data would suggest that.
Yeah. I know we're about to close up the show. Something just popped into my brain. I want to do a little PSA for MLB.TV people. We did have some clarification on how that's going to work with ESPN. If you did not see this, you can still do MLB.TV. The catch is they're going to sign you up for ESPN Plus for 1 month for free, and then it will auto renew at $30 a month. So when you sign up for MLB TV, just make sure you set yourself a reminder that you can cancel your ESPN Plus before that charge kicks in. All right, that's all I wanted to say.
Yeah.
PSA for the listeners out there.
It's a good catch. It did look way worse when all that was first announced.
Sure did. Really pissed me off.
Yeah. So it is what it is. We're all used to these dumbass free 30 days, and so most of us have some muscle memory of setting reminders to cancel whatever bullshit 30-day thing we got signed up for.
Yeah.
And then except for don't do that with the Patreon though.
Don't do that with the Patreon's good. Patreon's good.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's going to do it for this episode. Thank you again, everybody. And shout out to the Patreon and to all of our patrons. Your continued support is deeply appreciated. We will be back next week with another episode. And like I said before, it should have a guest, which we're very excited for. And check out all the links and everything at talkingaboutbirds.com. And until next week, let's go Cardinals.
Go Birds.